Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to MyFreeTaxes 2013 Workforce Empowerment Zones. Today, this webinar is sponsored by Walmart. Things to review before we get started. We provide closed captioning for all of our webinars, and if you'd like to access that, you can please minimize your chat box and maximize the closed caption media viewer. If you have any problems accessing this, please send Nakia Matthews a message in the chat box. Any questions during the webinar, please feel free to use the chat box to send your questions to my colleague Katie Metz or myself. I will unmute all phone lines at the end of the webinar for a Q&A session. And a note, the webinar is being recorded and materials will be put on the National Disability Institute's website at www.realeconomicimpact.org. And I would like to recognize and thank all of our sponsors, in addition to Walmart, Bank of America, Accorda, Blatt Institute, and our long-standing partner, IRS. Welcome again, everyone. My name is Jamie Robinson. I'm the Manager of Financial Empowerment and Workforce with National Disability Institute. We have an incredible mix of national, state, and local organizations and systems on the line today, and I've really had the pleasure of getting to know many of you over the past 6 weeks or so. And for those I already know, just speaking to you all more about the MyFreeTaxes partnership. And I have to start today off with a nod to the Jacksonville, Florida navigator, Lisa Piano. She should be on today. She works for the workforce system in Jacksonville. And when my colleague Katie Metz and I initially met with Lisa to discuss the possibility of her workforce region becoming a MyFreeTaxes pilot, she was immediately excited about the opportunity. She had a lot of ideas with how they could become a successful site. And so when we later notified Lisa that Jacksonville had been selected, she wrote back, "Thank you for choosing Jacksonville as MyFreeTaxes Empowerment Zone." So we really loved that. And now you know where today's webinar comes from. So thanks, Lisa. So I mentioned we have a variety of partners on the line today. And all of the pilot regions have been exceptional in your response to participating in this initiative, in particular how MyFreeTaxes can impact your workforce system and the customers you serve. From your local workforce investment board staff, the leadership in your workforce centers, to the staff members who have been appointed to oversee this work, I repeatedly heard, our customers need this. They need greater awareness. They need more access to free on-site tax preparation, and this can really impact our community. We have the 10 SPEC relationship managers that correspond with the workforce regions on the call today. We'll be learning more about what SPEC is and how these individuals will be critical in providing supports to the pilots. So thank you for joining us as well. We'll be hearing more about that natural connection between the U.S. Department of Labor's Disability Employment Initiative and MyFreeTaxes. I have some state leads on the call today. I really want to thank these individuals who helped identify and really open the door to the local workforce regions that will now serve as pilot sites. And of course, the disability resource coordinators, many of whom will be partnering with the tax coaches in these regions. And also my colleagues at NDI, who not only helped to initially connect the MyFreeTaxes initiative to the disability employment states that were implementing asset development, but who have also stayed really engaged with how they're going to be able to offer more ongoing technical assistance and support to these regions in terms of building off of the MyFreeTaxes work with asset building strategies that will further contribute to DEI outcomes. And finally, we have several national partners on the line today. The U.S. Department of Labor and New Service, and the MyFreeTaxes partnership, United Way Worldwide, Goodwill Industries, and NDI. So our 10 workforce empowerment zones, we have Sydney, New York, Fredericksburg, Virginia, Arlington Heights, Illinois, Bangor, Maine, Jacksonville, Florida, Burlington, Iowa, Wilmington, Delaware, Anchorage, Alaska, Glendale, California, and Columbia, Tennessee. And keep in mind there are a few of these regions that plan to rotate their tax coaches between 2 or 3 workforce centers. Those areas have pretty high-level support from their workforce and their disability resource coordinators to assist with those efforts. So since we have a pretty audience today, I just wanted to give a bit of background on the National Disability Institute. We are a national research and development organization with the mission to promote income preservation and asset development for persons with disabilities and to build an economic future for Americans with disabilities. And you may be familiar with our Real Economic Impact Network. We have an alliance of organizations and individuals dedicated to advancing the economic empowerment of people with disabilities. That consists of more than 900 partners in more than 100 cities across the country and includes nonprofits, tax coalitions, asset development organizations, financial education initiatives, corporations, and private sector businesses, including federal, state, local government agencies, and of course individuals and families with disabilities, all joining forces to promote and pursue access to the inclusion of people with disabilities in the economic mainstream. So in addition to the Real Economic Impact Network, the NDI team works on a variety of projects in collaboration with many different funders. As you heard mentioned, we have our TA team for the DI on the line today, and this is because NDI and NDI Consulting are under contract with the U.S. Department of Labor, Employment and Training Administration to provide training and TA to all of the projects across the country that are implementing this national initiative. I'll get to hear some more about that in just a minute. Down of our agenda, we will hear from all of the national partners who will provide kind of a baseline overview of their system or organization, as well as, what is their connection to asset development and the MyFreeTaxes project. We'll have an orientation of the facilitated self-assistance model, which is the MyFreeTaxes coached model that all of the workforce pilots will guide. We will have some time for Q&A, talk a bit about next steps. In that, I'd like to turn it over to our first presenter, and I will just say I've had the opportunity to work with Randy for many years now under 2 successive disability employment initiatives, and her leadership and support has been invaluable to the effectiveness of these initiatives. He is known nationally not only for listening and being in touch with what's happened on the state and local levels, but for also ensuring that any challenges that are happening and also the best practices that are being developed in the field are communicated all the way up Congress. So with that, Randy, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you for inviting me to participate in today's webinar. I'm excited to be involved with MyFreeTaxes Partnership Initiative. It's great to see the projects that you selected. I'm familiar with all of them, of course, and they're great. And I'm really delighted to hear that the workforce system is stepping up to the plate and is enthused about it as we are. And it's great to be joining this panel. I've worked with many of you for a long time, so it's nice to be welcomed back to the family again and to work on another initiative to move our agenda forward. Before I speak, before I even get to my slides, I just wanted to digress a little bit. I promise it won't be long, Jamie. The Department of Labor's Employment and Training Administration has been a partner with IRS and the National Disability Institute and other agencies and organizations involved in the Real Economic Impact Tour since 2004, what's called the Tax Facts campaign. Growth and success of asset development and financial literacy programs really demonstrate how critical they are to accomplish the goals of the public workforce system. EA's, the Employment Training Administration's overriding goal, stated by Secretary Solis many times, is good jobs for all, including people with disabilities and multiple challenges to employment. We know in this line that training and employment isn't enough to assist low-income, unemployed, and underemployed people with multiple challenges to employment leave the lives of poverty and become economically self-sufficient. People need to be banked, they need to save money, they need to make use of tax credits like the EITC, my personal favorite. In short, people need the MF initiative. Increasingly, people coming into the American Job Centers, formerly known as One-Stop Career Centers for services, are low-income and disadvantaged with multiple challenges to employment. These must include persons who are disabled, homeless, receiving public benefits such as TANF and food stamps, which I think is called SNAP now, Social Security disability benefits, ex-offenders, people who speak English as a second language, and the list goes on and on. Of course, people with disabilities have a disproportionately high representation in all of these populations. But frontline staff at the American Job Centers are telling us that the population, the demographics that they're seeing, are really people who would benefit from this type of program. So, each is thrilled to be involved, and it's a high priority for them because we want people to become economically self-sufficient and get career pathway jobs into the middle class. Realizing the importance of tax assistance, financial literacy, and asset development strategies is a priority. As a poverty-reducing tool, EA included this in its disability program Navigate initiative, which I hope some of you are familiar with. PNs, who are dedicated staff person located in the in job centers, had disability and workforce expertise, and they really helped to improve access around financial education, home ownership programs, increased use of the EITC, and perhaps the most successful strategy, becoming volunteer income tax assistance, or VITA sites. When it was ended for the DN initiative, Congress decided to fund, and that was because we were able to point to a lot of successes with the REI and with all the work. We were able to point to so much phenomenal success. Congress decided to fund a successor program in the Department of Labor called the Disability Employment Initiative, or the DEI. Congress required DEI to promote coordination in the public workforce system between employment and training programs and asset development programs. This is the first time labor was ever mandated to a program that had this as a specific goal. I have to report back on that fairly frequently when I get the phone call. The RCs, who are the successor to the navigators, the resource coordinators, are now implementing the financial literacy asset development strategies in the American Job Centers. We hear from, working with the pilot projects, all the DI projects, we have 23 of them, are working on asset development strategies. It's extremely pleased that the FT initiative saw the value of using the 10 DEI projects as pilot sites. It's a good place to start in the public workforce system because our projects are so committed. Most of them had Navigator grants before, not all of them, but a majority of them did, and our workforce people had been working in the area with the navigators or the resource coordinators. So we really think that the MFT initiative will promote, the effectiveness of the DEI also. You must be wondering why I bothered to prepare any slides. I'll get to them now. Going to read the slides. We have that for you to read at your leisure. Basically, just a little background on the workforce development system. When the PISA was established the Employment Service, which is in every state, and that's basically what a lot of people go to for basic employment services. Wagner-Pisa has core services. For example, determining eligibility to receive services under the Workforce Investment Act, Title I, initial assessment of skill level, outreach, intake, orientation, job search and placement, and information, kind of basic core services. You think about the Workforce Investment Act, which is really exciting, even though it's been a while since it's passed and we haven't been reauthorized yet. Its basic goal was to streamline services by integrating multiple employment and training programs into one place. So it was one-stop shopping, even though we have a different name. Congress wanted us to have one-stop shopping to make it easier on the customer. And all the Workforce Investment Act mandates universal access to basic or core services for all people, including people with disabilities. So it kind of shifted a lot from the previous legislation as far as those elements. The Investment Act also funds intensive services, which are comprehensive assessments, group and individual counseling and career planning, case management, supportive services, and an individual employment plan. Under that is also training and supportive services. So you have the three tier of services. You have the core, which is basic, and then you have training and support services. If you want to find out, there's a primer that we have on Workforce 3.1, and the website is there. Kind of have like a little video, a short one, about 7 minutes, which kind of explains about the system. I'd rather you do that than listen to me draw on and on. Next slide, please. Okay. American Job Center Network, formerly, as I said, we call the One-Stop Career Centers, and they have a lot of Workforce Investment Act. It's a devolved system, so it really varies a lot from state to state, from town to town. Currently, we have about 2,700 American Job Centers. Some are comprehensive, which means they have full variety of services. The affiliates have limited services. Job seekers and businesses are our customers. And, I'm not sure if everybody on the phone call who's not in the workforce system realizes the myriad of resources that we can connect them to as training and workforce supports, and just a number of partners that we have. For example, the Workforce Investment Act requires that there be mandated partners and non-mandated partners. And, the variety of mandated partners are vast. It's the adult, youth, and dislocated worker and youth activities, the employment service programs under the Wagner-Pfizer Act, adult education and literacy programs, federal-funded post-secondary vocational education, federal-funded welfare to work programs, federally funded senior community service employment activities, adjustment assistance, veterans employment and training programs, Department of HUD's administered employment and training programs, state employment insurance laws. So there's a vast amount of partners that really tie into what your different populations need. So I think that the public workforce system is a perfect fit to partner on this. We have a new integrated American website which provides a single point of access to help individuals find jobs, identify training programs, and tap into resources. We all have a variety of tools, e-tools, both for working on career planning and credentials, and also for the business sector. Next. Okay. The DOL training programs that you might not, be aware of, which we could link you to easily, and we do with our DEI sites, are apprenticeship programs, Job Corps, Indian and Native American programs, the National Farm Worker Jobs Program, and employment programs for dislocated or off workers. We have the Trade Adjustment Assistance programs. Of course, we have unemployment insurance. We have formula grants, like in the WEAR Adult, where each state gets a certain allocated portion based on a formula, such as dislocated in the WEAR Adult and WEAR Youth. And then we have a whole host of discretionary grants or pilot grants around workforce innovation funds, around community colleges, around developing competency models. So we really have a myriad of activities and partners that's at your disposal to use and coordinate with. Next slide. Okay, just a word about business engagement. Business is really a big piece, and when we look at the taxes, I've been looking at it also from the WOTC point of view and some of the IRS access and architectural barrier removal codes. So we've been working with employers around, with the business sector around that, but we provide a lot of information to the business sector that may be useful to some of you as you work in the area. So I just wanted to give you the two links to business sites at the TA. A little bit about the Disability Employment Initiative. It was date in the last 6 years through the Employment and Training Administration funded $63 million to 23 states to improve the education, training, and employment opportunities to youth and adults with disabilities. As I said before, DEI is the first U.S. Department of Labor initiative to incorporate asset development as major strategic component to enhance the economic self-sufficiency of individuals with disabilities. DEI projects do build upon the Navigate initiative by hiring a dedicated staff person, which we spoke about before. And, I mentioned several times, I really think that it's really a natural partner for this type of initiative. With that, I am going to, I'll stop for a second. A key part of the DEI is that we provide a lot of training and technical assistance to the public workforce system, to the DEI project. And we're very fortunate that we have a great TA team who's been with us for a long time, and they understand disability and the work system. Amy was a part of us for a while, but she deserted us. And we're losing her already, but she'll still be working with us. So we're very fortunate like that. And I think at this point I'd like to turn it over to my colleague who heads our TA team for the DEI project. Laura?
Thank you, Andy. Hi, everyone. I'm Laura Glenick, and I get the distinct pleasure of overseeing our wonderful technical assistance team. I've personally been involved serving as part of the National Technical Assistance and Training provider that's contracted by Randy's office, Department of Labor, to support their disability and employment initiatives in the workforce. Going way back since the funding of the Work Incentive Grants in 2001, then followed by the DP initiative, which began in 2003, and now the Disability Employment Initiative. And I really want to reiterate what Randy shared, because I think that having Congress include language about asset development strategies as part of the mission of the DEI really speaks volumes. And it really shows what these partnerships and collaboration were able to do over the years and the impact that they were able to show. So I'm really excited about that. I want to speak a little bit to the DEI projects that are on the line today and realize that as an implementing site, you're going to have choices in terms of the level of involvement that your project has with the MyFreeTaxes initiative. Projects in which asset development is one of the strategic service delivery components that you selected to implement as part of your service delivery approach. Participation in the MyFreeTaxes aligns perfectly with meeting your goals and objectives of the intervention strategy. And these goals and objectives include implementing various approaches to enhance long-term economic self-sufficiency for job seekers in the workforce system. But we really do recognize that in all cases, asset development is only one of the components that projects selected as an intervention strategy. But each of your DEI projects does have a designated DEI technical assistance liaison who serves as the direct contact and support for your grant and project staff. They are available to help you kind of sort all of this out. They are available for one-on-one discussions, problem solving, and strategic planning related to the implementation of the DEI within the workforce system. And all of them actually come from the workforce system. They served under the DPN initiative as a navigator, and some of them also served as a state lead. So they're going to be wonderful liaisons to help you walk this through. Let's learn a little bit more about meeting the DEI goals and objectives around asset development strategies. On this slide, it shows DEI benchmarks and outcome indicators. We, within the last 2 years, developed with the National DEI Program Office a development framework of DEI implementation. And it's really designed to provide states and local workforce investment areas that are serving as DEI pilot, or better known as implementing sites, with a development tool to allow you to assess implementation status of your DEI project, and also to identify priorities for development. There are 3 focus areas within each service delivery component to assess priorities for growth and improvement of implementation, and they include beginner, which is kind of the disability expertise, then move to a more intermediate level, which is problem solving, and then the advanced. It's really taking what you learned in the creation of the policies and practices with the hopes of sustaining these great strategies in the workforce system. Within each of the focus areas, we've identified key outcome indicators. So looking at the beginner, which again is the disability expertise, and then the intermediate, which is the problem-solving areas, you can see the types of indicators that reflect meeting asset development benchmarks. And many of them we just heard about through Jamie and Randy already. They include work incentives and benefits planning assistance, information about the EITC, and then links to local VITA sites, asset building resources that are both identified and disseminated. That's beginner. The intermediate, which includes asset summits that are convened with asset and disability communities. And I can't tell you how many of the projects have done this just under the DEI with really magnificent results. Financial fitness fairs, Super Saturdays, and other events. And then using one of our key concepts of the integrated resource teams to coordinate and incorporate into those teams the importance of savings and asset building objectives on an individualized basis. So hopefully you can see that these indicators show again how positioned the American Job Centers are to serve as pilot sites under this initiative. Just want to take you to the advanced slide before I give it back to Jamie. And you see what's highlighted in red, and I think this is key. The advanced slide, again, which represents sustaining of policies and practices. We're going to see that among others, the Department of Labor views American Job Centers becoming a community resource or a location for volunteer tax assistance as an advanced indicator. So this is, again, just to validate that your work and participation as a DI pilot site and DI state and the MyFreeTaxes initiatives is really going to go a long way in helping you meet the goals and objectives of the DEI. And with that, Jamie, thank you. Thank you all. I look forward to hearing the rest of the presentation.
Great. Thank you, Laura and Randy. It was a great overview of a sometimes complex workforce system, and then, outlining those linkages between the workforce, the Disability Employment Initiative, and MyFreeTaxes. So thanks again. Our next presenter is Richard Keeling. Richard has been a close collaborator of NDIs for many years. I have kind of only recently had the opportunity over the past year to work with Richard, and he is a wealth of information. I'm always picking up the phone to call him, I feel like, not to mention an incredible advocate for individuals with disabilities. So, Richard, you're in.
Thank you, Amy.
And yep.
Thank you. Hopefully you can hear me okay out there. I'm going to talk a little bit about SPEC for people on the call that may not know what SPEC is. And we are a fairly young organization. We started in 2000. And just briefly, what SPEC is our name, State Partnership, Education, and Communication. We kind of go by the acronym SPEC, and we are the Outreach and Education Department, Investment Division of the IRS. So we are pretty much the face of the IRS when people out and work with us in various partnership-based type community organizations. And we partner with numerous organizations. Mostly people we're working with are lower income individuals, people over 60, people with disabilities, Native Americans, people with English as a second language, and people that live in rural areas. Kind of the same lines of the people that Randy spoke about, and that they also serve at the America Job Centers. Morally, we do manage the Voluntary Income Tax Assistance Program known as VITA, and it's counseling for the elderly program as well. I just slide, but we also manage the VITA TCE grant that is used to increase free tax preparation. Here we gave out about $12 million in grants to organizations. So basically, we are the organizations. We let people know about tax credits and other benefits, and utilizing this leverage model approach with trusted organizations, we ensure and inspect that all taxpayers are claiming any deductions that they're entitled to. Credits such as the Earned Income Tax Credit that you may have heard Randy talk about. Just to give you a real quick scenario, or a real quick dollar on the size of the Earned Income Tax Credit last year in 2012 filing season, about 26.5 million people received nearly $61 billion in Earned Income Tax Credit. So it is a large credit, which there are some people that are claiming a credit, and that's why we work with our trusted organizations such as NEI and Labor, et cetera, to help get the word on this. So the business model fits very well into something that Randy spoke about, where we kind of integrate tax education, free tax preparation, and education and asset building strategies. We partner with about 75 organizations, about 400 coalitions across the country where they're providing free tax preparation services and all these other services, and about 4,000 local partner organizations of all types, such as corporate, faith-based, nonprofit, educational, financial, governmental, just to name a few. What we've done in SPEC, I mentioned all the groups that we've worked with. However, about 2004, a few years after we stood up as an organization, we were working with many of these organizations that I mentioned. However, there really wasn't a strategy in place to work with people with disabilities. So lucky enough to meet the Dr. Hartnett at National Disability Institute and Michael Morris at NDI, and that started a relationship that we still have. So people with disabilities, they were always one of our target markets, and once we met National Disability Institute, we were able to put a strategy in place with this market segment. And working with National Disability Institute, our lead partner, we started working with many other partners. We now work with about 20 national partners. Basically the same sort of things that we work with other people about. And that's free tax preparation, tax education, and asset building opportunities. However, there was one specific component, and that is the integration of public benefits and how it affects some of these federal tax credits. And that's a kind of a thing that we had to learn along the way, and we did. So the work and the help of National Disability Institute, Dartnett will probably tell you in a little bit that this has become a national movement of over 100 partners. We're in over 100 cities, dedicated along NDI to improving the economic lives of people with disabilities and their families. So a little quick overview of Facilitate Self-Assistance, or FSA. This is a SPEC's volunteer return preparation program, and unlike traditional volunteer tax assistance program, where the VITA certified volunteer prepares a tax return for the taxpayer, this model here empowers the taxpayer to prepare a return instead. So the volunteer acts as a tax coach or facilitator, answering the taxpayer's question during the process of completing and filing a return. This has become, in a way, our educating the person filing the return on its education. Since they're doing their own returns, there's a little bit of different rules that we'll get into. Volunteer or tax coach is not actually doing the return, but I mentioned too that H&R Block is one of our providers of the software for MyFreeTaxes, and we are part of this Free File Alliance. This concept of Facilitate Assistant is not anything new to many of our partners. They have been working with software providers over a few years to give taxpayers options. However, we in SPEC, we did not initially recognize these partnerships or were able to count this through a program until when an MOU was signed between SPEC and the Free File Alliance. Kind of opened the door to recognize these Facilitate Self-Assistance returns through the umbrella of So I would mention too that there are more than just MyTaxes organizations out there that are part of this Free File Alliance, and we IRS, we cannot endorse one over another. However, MyFreeTaxes is the only company that is serving in every state in the United States. I also mentioned too that some of the candidates for Facilitate Self-Assistance are students and individuals that are computer savvy, cell phones, use other types of social media, and that there's more to that I think that Lee Davenport will present. But that's kind of the overview of FSA. I want to get into a little bit of specifics with our people from SPEC and also some of the tax coaches at the American Job Centers that are on the call right now. And the first thing, is, and I titled this slide "Working Together, American Job Centers and SPEC," because partnership is one of the middle names, and pride ourselves on the ability to work together with organizations. So one of the first things that have to be done is the American Job Centers must connect with our local SPEC or relationship manager. And I know that some places this is already being done. In addition to that, they're supplying American Centers with laptops. These laptops will be delivered by January 7th to 13th. However, the SPEC relationship manager will have to go into our database known as Spectrum, and I'll try and stay away from as many acronyms as possible. Put this data so that the American Centers will get their laptops on time, and then from there can start work on some of the other details. But as far as the laptops, most of the laptops do have wireless capabilities, and partners are permitted to use their own wireless devices on these loan laptops. The laptops, you should keep them secured and probably safeguarded and the computer should be returned by May 15th of this year, of 2013. Some other important things that are up there, I do up here about volunteers completing the ethics. When I say volunteers, I'm referring to anybody that's working in the umbrella of data or facilitate self-assistance. So partners will have to complete the ethics training. It's added to as the volunteer standards of conduct agreement, and that's you have to take and sign a form after that. In addition to that, there's some other forms that you'll be receiving from our SPEC partner. Basically, there's a ethics form for the partner that basically says that the American Job Center will not discriminate. I'll sign sponsored agreement from the that says the American Job Center will take reasonable steps to protect taxpayer information. And in addition, will be a completed site information form that will show the days of the week, the hours, etc. And that information will go into our database as well. The coach will be certified on our Lincoln Learn Taxes, regardless of whether the tax coach is a former paper preparer or has a CA or a tax attorney. They still have to become certified on our Lincoln Learn site. However, there's a few things that are a little bit different, and I'll go over these briefly. For example, normally at our VITA sites, we have an intake and interview sheet. This is required as part of the facilitated self-assistance model and should not be conducted at sites. Instead, there's more of a streamlined screening process that should take place to determine if the taxpayer is and facilitates self-assistance and also meets our qualification. To this, there's normally have a quality review process in VITA. However, this does not apply to facilitate self-assistance. The person working with the taxpayer, they should conduct a review to ensure that the tax completed the return correctly and applied all their income documentation. The taxpayer advised that this is just an overview and that the taxpayer is ultimately responsible for accuracy and completeness of the return. Again, the facilitate self-assistant does not require the interview-based nature of the software cover the intake and quality review things that we do. Taxpayers are kind of quizzed about various transactions that took place during the year and about supplying additional documentation for income and expenses. A few that I have here of note is that you should work SPEC along with our with the American Job Center should work together on getting some sort of marketing plan on whether or not you'll have a walk-in site where people won't make appointments, they'll just come in off the street, or how you're going to do this. And it's just a tool for you to have in place before the filing season starts. And I also suggest utilizing social media this day and age for drawing traffic to your site. In addition to setting expectations and goals at the to help creating a baseline for measuring success, there should be, and I know the people that are working this, and they will have ongoing conversations throughout the filing season, and at least on a periodic basis. And at the end of the filing season, you should have a closeout discussion or a debrief, which give everyone an opportunity to more closely review what went on with the filing season and celebrate some of the successes with identifying any lessons learned. I put some some sources here for you, and if I had a little more time, I would share some other things for you, such as the Learn site. However, you will get that information hopefully from our SPEC people. But to get more information about the nearest SPEC representative, you can simply send an email to irs.gov. I do have all that information, so I would suggest at this point you just contact myself or Jamie to get that information. I post or list a website here too that talks about SPEC, and the link is there. We'll have a VITA locator that is posted up there. It's a great tool that we use to find VITA and counseling for the elderly sites, along with the standalone self-assistance sites. Some also utilize this number that I posted there to call toll-free to find the closest site to you. And then if people are interested in becoming a volunteer, there's an email address where they can send that information to, and that will go to our SPEC headquarters. Someone would send information back to the contact. We have an alternative media center web that I posted up here, and I want to let everyone know that the IRS does offer content in a variety of file formats to accommodate people with disabilities who use assistive technology such as screen reading softwares, refreshable displays, braille displays, and voice recognition software. We also have hundreds of tax forms and publications that can be downloaded to view online in different formats. There's the text format, there's ready formats and browser-friendly HTML formats, along with Excel, PDF, and large print. So we just want to make a plug for an upcoming webinar that we're going to be having with teachers, Janie and Jeanette, and another person, Michael Roush from National Disability Institute. Webinar will be talking about a few different things, but it will talk about the job centers, that part, along with some information about disability awareness training, and just some of the newer things that have been happening at National Disability Institute, as well as some new tools that you can use in. And this, you can register for the webinar at the link listed below there, and hope to have many of you join us on that time. Somehow I got up there. My actual email is richard.kirs.gov and not on there, which is RCHARD. But
okay. We'll change, Richard, before we post it.
Okay, great. Thank you, Jamie, and good luck.
Thank you much. Thank you much, Richard. That was a lot of great information. I'm sure, I've been working a lot very closely with the pilots, and I'm sure that, as much information as you're getting, you're also, having a lot of questions. So I think the key piece here is to really connect with those SPEC managers. I think that will be a huge source of support for you all. A few people are asking in the chat box too about the PowerPoint, and we will be showing you a link at the end where you can access it on the AI website. So now we're going to hear from each of the Free Taxes partners, and I'd like to introduce Laura Scherler. She is the Director of Income Capacity Building with United Way Worldwide. And Laura, if you unmute your line, I'll turn it over to you.
I'm the Director of I think my official title is Income Capacity Building at United Way Worldwide. I manage all of our financial stability programming here at the organization. I manage MyFreeTaxes partnership on behalf of United Way Worldwide. It's great to be able to talk to you today. I'm going to try to figure out how to advance my slides.
At the top, the small arrow, blue arrow.
Oh, I see.
In the
I was
middle.
clicking the wrong arrow. Okay. So I wanted to just provide a quick overview of the MyFreeTaxes partnership. Some of you may know this information, and this obviously may be new for some of you. We've actually been doing this work a couple of years. The partnership was officially launched in 2009, so 2013 will be our 5th tax season. The partnership is funded by the Walmart Foundations, and over the years have contributed about $16 million to help us build the collective capacity of our networks to provide free tax filing services to low and moderate income families. National partners are the National Disability Institute, One Economy, United Way Worldwide, and of course the Walmart Foundation. So these have been the historic partners with whom we launched in 2009. The purpose of the partnership is to increase access to the Earned Income Tax Credit through free tax preparation and filing services. So we really focus on both provide free services as well as maximizing refunds and credits that folks are eligible for. And we do this in two ways. We focus both on traditional volunteer-assisted tax preparations, the VITA services that many of you are familiar with and that many of you have been participating in your communities over the years, as well as an innovative online self-tax preparation program to help people complete and file their own federal and state tax returns. When we started this work, we recognized that in order to reach new and different populations, we needed to increase the number of ways of channels that they had access to in terms of free services. And so we feel like the combination of volunteer-assisted tax preparation as well as an online self option allows us to reach and serve more people. And we also focus on previously underserved populations, those that traditional may or may not have been successful in reaching. That includes persons with disabilities as well as in some communities particular racial and ethnic minorities, and in many cases single filers. So in 2013, our organization, we're focused on a couple of things, and I should say at the outset that the 2012 and 2013 tax season make some changes for the MyFreeTaxes partnership. First big change is that Goodwill Industries International has joined the partnership, which we're thrilled about. The mission of United Way, Goodwill, and NDI in terms of increasing the percentage of people in this country that are financially stable and providing asset building opportunities for low moderate income families is something that we're all really committed to, and so we feel like a lot of alignment between our organizations and the work that we're doing, and so we really feel like the addition of Goodwill to the partnership gives us a tremendous amount of reach, really expands our reach and gives us a tremendous amount more reach than we've had previous. We're really excited about that. The second big change is that United Way Worldwide has assumed ownership and management of the MyFreeTaxes online tool. That tool was previously managed by another nonprofit organization, and we've taken that over. And so obviously that is a change for us and something that has been challenging in terms of really understanding in a different way the technology and really the most effective marketing and outreach strategies that we need to use as an organization and as a partnership to reach target population. Our program components are the focus of our work in 2013. First is to continue to increase the capacity of local United Ways and their partners to provide volunteer-assisted free tax preparation. That's something that we know that we will continue to focus on moving forward, and we work with our grantees, our local United Ways. We provide resources in terms of financial funding as well as technical assistance, tools, resources, a variety of other things to build the capacity of organizations on the ground to deliver free tax preparation services. Obviously, now that we've taken on the website, we are very focused on increasing the number of individuals that file taxes on myfreetaxes.com. Along those lines, we also are really focused on increasing the capacity of local United Ways and their partners to support and promote MyFreeTaxes, hosting facilitated self-assistance sites. Richard gave a really great overview of what facilitated self-assistance is and some of the technical aspects of that. We know that the ability of local organizations to promote facilitated self-assistance and provide support for filers in the form of volunteers is really critical to spreading the word about self-prep and making tax filers feel comfortable with using software to file their own taxes, and so we know that's a critical component, and so we'll continue to focus on that going forward. Obviously, we're also really focused on the customer service aspect of MyFreeTaxes, and so we've created a customer support line that will provide both software and tax support to MyFreeTaxes users. We've created a line, and we'll also make help available via email and chat. So things that we will provide as a partnership to ensure that local partners on the ground have the tools and resources they need to promote MyFreeTaxes successfully in their communities. A social media kit. We develop content that can be either used as is or customized and posted on both Facebook and Twitter to make advertising on social media easy. We also have developed customizable, both customizable and pre-printed marketing materials. So some material electronic templates that can be customized and downloaded, as well as pre-printed materials like posters, flyers that folks can order and receive and to promote MyFreeTaxes. After having done this for a couple of years, we have developed some forms and templates that folks can use, like sign-in sheets, document checklists, a folder that we've created to put tax information in. All of those are available online. We also have a number of model practices and case studies, particularly around facilitated self-assistance and effective operational models that can be used. Of course, are developing frequently asked questions documents to make sure that we're providing appropriate answers to some commonly asked questions. Also, in the process of developing some online software training and tutorials. We're working this year both on written materials, so a training handbook, as well as online tutorials that will walk people through the software and help them understand how a basic return is done on MyFreeTaxes. We provide traffic and demographic reports throughout tax season. We work with IRS to coordinate the process of linking unique URLs with FDN numbers, which allows both United Way and the IRS to track returns that are being completed on MyFreeTaxes, allows coalitions to count those returns toward the grant numbers if that's applicable. And as I mentioned, we offer centralized customer support via phone, chat, and email through the customer support line. A little bit more detail about the training supports available. Obviously, software demonstrations. Videos are currently on the MyFreeTaxes website, and you'll see the link here. We're working on a schedule of webinars, and that will be software demonstration and training, and that schedule is being finalized and should go out in the next couple days if Jamie hasn't already included a slide on that in here. We're also on, as I said, training profiles, sample documents, and answer keys. Really, the tools that a volunteer would need to be able to complete a sample return, understand the return preparation process, so when they're helping tax through the process, they'll understand the flow of the tax return, what screens would be coming up, etc. And then I mentioned the headline. There will be January office hours, and will also be available for partner organizations. So if you have particular questions about the software or if something's happening at your FSA site, there'll be somebody that you can call to get support. And then this is just a little bit more detail about the MyFreeTaxes customer supply. And you see the phone number there. All clients using MyFreeTaxes will be able to call the line. It's a national 1-800 number. The operation are 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Saturday. The helpline is actually staffed by information and referral specialists, many of whom work for call lines like 211 and VITA certified volunteers. support is available 24/7, generally with a 24-hour response time. Obviously, emails can't be answered when the call specialists aren't working, but we are committed to getting back to people as quickly as possible. Obviously, we'll provide chat support and support related both to the software as well as tax questions. I've gotten a lot of questions about the user support line. I just wanted to let folks know that the line is staffed both by call specialists as well as VITA certified volunteers. The reason that that's important is that the IRS has been really, really generous this year in allowing local programs to count any return that the taxpayer has access to a VITA certified volunteer in VITA numbers. The IRS has agreed that our toll-free national customer supply provide access to a VITA certified volunteer meets their requirements. And so anyone, because of how they find the link, can use the MyFreeTaxes support line if they have a question. And because access to a VITA certified volunteer is available, anyone who uses your MyFreeTaxes customized URL locally is advertising MyFreeTaxes in your community. Anyone who uses your link will be tracked and attributed to you, and then you'll be able to count those numbers towards your VITA grant if that's applicable. So we're really grateful to the IRS for making it possible for us to allow local coalitions to count these returns, and for working through the logistics, the customer support line with us. This has been challenging for us. It's the first time we've done something like this, and so it's been really great to be able to consult the IRS as we move forward. Jamie, I'm going to turn it over to Cammie Siemens from Goodwill.
Great. Yep. Thanks. There's information there. You won't see Laura's or Cammie's contact information because they have many of their own organizations' questions to field that are coming in. So you will see mine and Katie's, Katie Metz, Johnette. You'll see the NDI team. So see if you have any questions that come from Cammie or Laura's presentation to shoot them our way, and if we don't know the answer, we'll get it. Hi, Cammie Siemens. She's a Family Financial Stability Program Director with Goodwill Industries International, our next MyFreeTax partner. Cammie?
Thanks. So, Jamie, can you hear me?
We can.
Okay. With all these different mute buttons, I wasn't sure who can hear me.
There's a few. Yeah, there's a few.
Right. Well, I'm really excited to be invited to speak this webinar. We are, as Laura mentioned, the newest partner to the MyFreeTaxes partnership, and we're very excited about it, not only from an organization standpoint, but just this has been one of the most interesting and I feel most significant partnerships that we have joined recently, and so we're learning along the way from the partners who have already been at this for several years, and so we have their knowledge base to help us get up to speed. So that's a great thing. Those of you who are not as familiar with Goodwill Industries International, we are as much of a business as we are a social enterprise, and the way that really plays out is that when the good folks in communities just around the country, just like you, donate, we're able to turn and sell those donations and use that money to subsidize job training and skills building, whether it's classroom learning or whether it's job retention and advancement and support along the way. And so you truly are making quite a difference in your community when you tap into the Goodwill network. And so the other, I think one of the things that we bring to the table that I'm most excited about is that for Will, our employees are often our clients as well as our shoppers. So when you talk about having, roughly 115,000 employees across the United States, the reach is pretty significant in scope. So when you think about how many of those employees are also our clients. So that is one of the ways that Goodwill is bringing something new to the table, if you will. In terms of the MyFreeTaxes partnership specifically, we handpicked 28 different Goodwills from across the U.S. to involve as pilots in this first year of our partnership. And these are, for the most part, experienced vice sites or Goodwills that are part of a very active coalition. But similar to what Laura was describing in terms of the marketing materials and the social media and just the reach that Goodwill has in general, there is a lot to be said for the way that we can push out messaging around MyFreeTaxes that is greater than just the 28 Goodwills who will be actually our hands-on partner. Through these 28 Goodwills and our affiliate locations, we really are accessing, well, this slide here says 165 agencies. It's actually 158 here in the U.S., and that represents more than 700 stores, most of whom are, like I mentioned, either Vita sites or part of a very active coalition. So we're looking at how it is that we can both support them as well as enhance the work that's already being done in a lot of those sites. One of the things that we have found that folks are really fired up about are some of the co-branded materials that we're currently in development with the other program partners. Some of that may be shopping bags that are available at the sites. It may be some of the online materials or the information that is downloadable at the MyFreeTaxes website. It also encourage folks to take a look at some of the clips and videos that are on the website regarding volunteer training and ways to dip your foot into the pool of tax preparation, if you will. There's some really great information out there. And I think that is it for me.
Tammy, I know that there are several workforce pilots that are already connecting with their United Ways and their Goodwills, and we're definitely going to have some opportunities to bring all of those different groups together so we can talk about how we can, better coordinate efforts. So,
music to my ears.
Yes, I know, isn't it? So I'm going to turn it over to my wonderful colleague, Katie Metz, and she's just going to share a little bit more about how NDI is contributing to the MyFreeTaxes partnership. There's more to our piece than selecting the workforce pilots. So, Katie, it's all yours.
Thank you. You can hear me okay?
We can.
Great. So in the interest of time, I am going to be very brief and also let you know that we want to make sure that you got plenty of information from our partners, but you are also lucky because you will have access to, the NDI team, Jamie, Janet, and myself, Lisa, throughout the year. So again, like I said, I will be very brief and let you know that much of what I'm going to cover will be in a later webinar, which will be specifically about tools and resources. So as earlier, I'm kind of not really going to go through a couple of these slides because the point will be given to you and you all have access to this. Maybe you are aware of some of the goals already where we've selected your 10 regions and some of our goals to increase numbers for taxpayers with disabilities through MyFreeTaxes. As I said, there are the 10 workforce regions. You're all familiar with from the work that's going to be done through the coming season from your interactions with Jamie. I want to briefly touch on, we do have a virtual toolkit which is online. The link is here. I know that's a rather lengthy link. However, we'll give you this link in emails, in future correspondence, as well as the PowerPoint you'll receive today. And you can see there's a couple wonderful tools that are given as examples. I would like to specifically point out to you our disability awareness training, which is available in 3 formats through a PowerPoint training on our site, which is you're welcome to download. It has full script. We did that there at NDI through our staff. It's also available disability training through a video, which is created by our partner in United Way of Buffalo and Erie County, and that's a YouTube video that you could show to volunteers. And then we also have the same disability awareness training that we've created through the PowerPoint through a learning course that will be sent out as a link. You can go online and have your volunteers and staff access that as well. We have a tax access project within a national project. We have partnered with the Southeast ADA Center to provide a safe zone. And I can see there's a phone number listed as well as a website where you can go on and ask questions directly to disability experts through the Southeast ADA Center. And of course, you're always welcome to contact our NDI staff for additional information. I want to point out that we will be doing virtual work group meetings throughout the coming year, January through August of next year, and those will really, really be wonderful opportunities for you as workforce pilot sites to receive targeted training and technical assistance from our NDI team. So if you reach out to the local community in your area, as well as to receive more information about things such as the tools and resources we have available, or products that we might be able to assist you with. So I am going to wrap up and turn it back over to Jamie. Again, I know I went through that rather quickly, but like I said, you'll have access to us. You have our contact information. And I encourage you to reach out to any of our NDI team members, and we'll get back with you as quickly as possible, make sure that we give you the support, the tools, and the resources you need, and we will continue to develop new tools and resources that will assist you. So I turn it back over to you, Jamie.
Thanks, Katie. So finally, I want to hand this over to NDI's lead on the MyFreeTaxes partnership, Dr. Jonette Hartnett, to talk about the impact of MyFreeTaxes in the past years and as we look forward to 2013. I think this information really brings this all into perspective for the work ahead. Jonette?
Thank you so much, and thank you, Randy, and Laura, and Richard, and Laura from United Way, Cammie, and my team, Jamie, Kitty, and Lisa, and Nakia, and all of you for this. You know, it brings back a lot of old memories. We did webinars, ran a number of years ago, I think when we were TaxFax, I can't remember, but then when we started the tour. I think that the partnerships of everyone on this call and the collaboration led, of course, by IRS that opened the door in that very first year to 11 cities, and we did 7,600 returns. Our partners did 7,600 returns. Since then, I think it was the baseline was 6% of taxpayers with disabilities were accessing the traditional VITA volunteer-assisted program, and now it's about 14%. So I say thank you. And what we're really excited about this year is the opportunity to kind of, move it up a notch and look at the technology and how we can reach the millions of more taxpayers out there that are saying, hey, if I knew about this work, I would be doing it. So part of our efforts this year is going to be on the, not the traditional volunteer, but more on the innovative online tax preparation, and that will be our focus in working with the American Job Centers. And just to give you a snapshot, I think it's always important to know why we do this work. And I think the outcomes are just extraordinary. We know that the ITC encourages work for single parents, especially mothers. Research shows that the social impact is larger than on welfare, the people that are receiving welfare. The Earned Income Tax Credit and the Child Tax Credit lifted almost 10 million people out of poverty. It is the largest anti-poverty program, as Richard and many of you have referenced. And as you look at that number, almost 5 million children. And also provides the Earned Income Tax Credit a short-term safety net. And we looked at a study that looked over a number of years, and they found that 61% of taxpayers received the Earned Income Tax Credit, usually for 1 or 2 years at a time. And it wasn't a lot more. And I think our data from IRS sort of supports that too. People tend to use this as a safety net, and a whole EITC recipients pay more in federal income taxes than they receive. And I think that's an important point. And I think this one I loved, and this is the Earned Income Tax Credit Impacts School Performance. And it's that raising a family's income by just $3,000 a year is associated with significant increase in child learning. I'm not going to go through any more discussion on that, although I have all the references if you're interested in those studies. Since 2009, we're into our 5th year of this incredible program. 5 million taxpayers have received over $6 billion in tax refunds. The 113% increase in the number of returns filed, and 117% increase in the number of tax refunds. And the big one is the 500% increase in the number of self-tax filers, which is what we're talking about here today. 2012, we have, our specific goals, and this is again a collaboration and partnership where together we helped 1.4 million taxpayers, 13.5% with disabilities. And I'm not going to go through those numbers because, as it's been said, you will have access to this. I think it's important to know that this work saves taxpayers real money, almost $300 million in prepara fees, which there is data that shows how that money goes back and impacts communities as people use it. I think that the learnings in terms of the team, we have looked at we have established a content management system where we can go in and in real time be looking at what is happening, where our deliverables are. We work off of documents. One document is placed in the content management system, and Godfrey Lee and others that pushed us to this a few years back to really streamline our efficiency. The unified messaging campaign is easy to access. We have customizable materials for our local partners, and I know this year the National Disability Institute will be creating specific marketing materials for the American Job Centers, and we have customized social media education, which Laura spoke to a little bit earlier. And we have targeted outreach to taxpayers with disabilities and Spanish-speaking taxpayers, and lots of other studies that are going on that I'm not going to go through. So looking forward, we're really excited this year to have Goodwill Industries International on board, although they have been a partner with us in our work, and I know over the years with us in the Real Economic Impact Tour, now the network. We're so excited. We have collected demographic data on online self-filers, but we are beginning to understand more of who the online filer is. And IRS has just released a couple of studies to help us begin this conversation. And it's going to help us target the messaging and outreach, because unlike the traditional volunteer-assisted VITA customer, we know a lot about that customer. We've been collecting data for, I guess, like 40-some-odd years. We don't know a lot about the online filer, so it's really, really exciting to be a part of this. And we're continuing to build our team communication, and this is done collaboratively across the United Way and the Goodwills and AI and with the American Job Centers. And this year we're even extending out to a number of our community partners that may not be a part of the MyFreeTaxes campaign directly and receiving resources. So we are very, very excited. And I think that the goals and the marketing strategy, I think I'm going to skim this. Not that it's not important, but because we want to have a few minutes to have an opportunity to ask questions. Again, we'll have radio PSAs and flyers and all sorts of collateral for you to help you build this work, and we're here to help you. IRS has always said, and they truly are. So I'm going to turn it back over to Jamie for any question and answers.
Thank you, Deb. So this next section we're not going to be able to get to today, but this is what will give us a sneak peek. A lot of you have been asking about a lot of the pieces that are in this next section, so I wanted you to have it. A lot of it was presented at the Tax Summit, but you will definitely get information on an upcoming recorded training that the guru of and creator of MyFreeTaxes, Lee Davenport, has provided through United Way. So as Laura mentioned, those things are forthcoming, and you will be the first to know when they are available. So at this point, we want to open up for some questions. We have about 5 minutes left. And Nakia, are you able to mute all the lines? If I give host duty. We do have a few questions in the chat box while working on that. Can the United Way or Richard Keeling talk about being sure to include FA in the site name for IRS and being a custom URL on the United Way website? Rich, are you able to take that? Let me unmute your line.
Hear me?
Yes, we can.
This is Richard. Thanks, Jamie. Well, first of all, the part of the question, we want all of our tax consultants to, when they enter this data into the database, to list it as American Job Centers dash what city name is. So if it's in Anchorage, it would be American Job Centers dash Anchorage, and that would generate as far as getting the and some of the other systems to go out there. And the part question was out the link for MyFreeTaxes, and I'm sure about that, and I was wondering if Lee or Laura could speak about the link.
Yeah, Laura, sorry, I was muted earlier, and I think, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So it is a, so in follow what Richard said, we do have a form online to allow people to apply for a URL, and it's not, there's really an application process. No one is denied. It's just a matter of, we need to track all of those in our internal database so we can send reports out. And so the IRS has asked, because they are trying to track all of the different ways that people are using the self-prep software. So they asked that states have separate URLs for their physical FSA sites versus what we're calling their public link. So if you're just promoting MyFreeTaxes in your community to any of your eligible citizens that want to use MyFreeTaxes, we can set a public link, and you would have, let's say, myfreetaxes.com/Tampa. You would also have a link that's myfreetaxes.com/Tampa FSA. Those unique URLs would allow us to track the different types of returns and to distinguish the returns that were completed, someone at home doing their return versus at your physical site. And the link, I'm madly flipping through my phone to find the link that will allow you to a custom URL. And I will just, Jamie, if you could just give me 2 seconds.
Sure. Well, this is what we had talked about with all of your SPEC managers, working with all of the regions to ensure that they have their SIDN numbers and their customized URLs. So I think is the route that you had wanted these 10 regions to go?
Yes, and the site identification number, also known as SIDN, will be attached to the end of the link. And so when the link is generated, it will have the SIDN that will track the number of returns.
And oh, sorry, Richard, go ahead.
No.
I just posted a link to the page in the chat.
Right, I see it.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, I see it. And I would just, I know some of you are, this is a big discussion amongst all of the sites that are involved, including the force regions. So we're definitely working on, making sure that you all kind of go the right path here. And I know that some of you also are working closely with your Goodwills, your United Ways, other VITA sites. So we will provide as much clarification as we can on what direction we need to go to ensure that you have right URLs.
Right. I think, Jamie, the simplest thing to do in terms of process is, if you haven't done this already, I would reach out to your local SPEC territory manager and ask them for 2 separate URLs. So if you only have one FSA site, get one SIDN number for that, and then you get one for your public link. If you have multiple FSA sites, you get multiple SIDN numbers. So in terms of process, the easiest thing to do would be ask your SPEC territory manager to generate the number of SIDN numbers that you need, then use the link that's posted in the chat. Go to that link and register apply for your URLs and insert the SIDN number.
Right.
That way everything is connected. But on our end, we will also go through the list and double check it on the back end with our IRS contacts at the national level to make sure that all the URLs are linked with SIDN numbers. Double check everything.
Okay, it's our first step here on your next steps. If you haven't already, it's critical that you connect with that regional IRS SPEC representative in your region, and we have a list of those representatives that Richard has provided. So and ensured that it's all up to date contact information. So we'll get that out to everyone. We can unmute the lines right now, and so there are unmuted. If there are any, we can take a couple more questions.
Yes, hello, it's Tom in Los Angeles.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, I'm a TC, and I'm going to be setting up one of these sites. We get a step-by-step as to what we need to do, because I'm a little bit confused about, I think I got it now that I'm supposed to set it up as American Jump Center-Glendale. But then the rest of it, I'm not sure who's getting the Title VI, who's getting the sponsor agreement form, etc. Can we do like a step-by-step of what we need to do?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, Richard and I are also working. We were working on that this week. So the answer is yes, we will.
Oh, all right.
Thanks, Tom. And hopefully by the end of this week, we should have that out to all of the sites.
Okay, I had to create one already to get the laptop order, and I want to make sure that FSA site is properly named, etc. I got the correct hours of operation in there. And then, of course, we always have to have the Title VI and the sponsor agreement when any IRS, property is involved, anything at all is involved. So all up, I want to get all those ducks lined up correctly. So I thank you for your help.
We do. Thanks. We'll definitely we'll be sending some information out this week.
Okay.
I have a follow-up into Tom's question. This is Connie Stewart. I'm the SPEC Territory Manager in Los Angeles. I know those procedures are going to come, but in the meantime, I would just like clarification that the Title VI and sponsor agreement is to be signed locally by the organizations that we're working with here that will be doing the FSA at their location. It will not be a national type, one title signed to one sponsor agreement. It will be locally, and it's our responsibility to obtain that from the individual sites.
And
yeah, Rich, I was going to ask if you want to add.
Yep, correct. It will be up to the local territories to get the 6 and the sponsor agreement and everything else. You're correct in saying that.
Thank you, because we've already put the orders in for laptops, and we're always leery about ordering anything until we have those Title VI and sponsor agreements in hand. And normally that's the way we do business, is we have those documents signed and in our possessions before we place the order. But I know time is tight right now trying to get this done, so we've placed the order, those laptops, but we're looking for the local partner to sign those documents. I just want clarification.
Can I add something? This is Tom. Can the local partner, though, be made aware of that, too? Because the local partners, I think, are not sure about this Title VI sponsor agreement. This stuff is news to them. Okay, not sure about signing it, what they're taking on. I guess these would be the DEI grantees. Can they be informed that this is at a local level?
The workforce folks, yes, the workforce point people. Some of them are the DEI project staff, and some of them are with the Workforce Center. So yes, you're right, correct. They need a little bit more information about what these forms are, what the explanation of some of the things in that. And Rich and I have also been speaking about that as well to get more information out to everybody.
Okay.
And can I just ask something? This is Johnette. Is the Title VI form agreement, is that because they're getting a laptop?
No.
Okay.
Serving as an FSA site?
Yeah.
We've missed that. I've missed that completely in our literature. Okay.
Any more question, and then we're going to have to sign off for today.
No. This is Lisa Parlapiano in Jacksonville, in Florida. Hey, everybody. First of all, I just want to say that I know other questions are going to come up, and that's the great thing about a pilot, because some of it's new, and it's definitely new for us. And so if you all, as team members, could come organize my personal life, like the way that you have organized this and offered the technical assistance, I would really appreciate that. Really appreciate all the opportunity to partner. And I just wanted to say to some of the workforce colleagues that I met, my cohorts up at the summit, and I am really excited about this and look forward to working with you. I've seen the advancement of the VITA sites and the numbers go up and the word get out to the community over the years here, and it really does work. So I'm also about empowerment, and thanks for mentioning that at the beginning, Jamie, because for each person that does learn how to do that, taxes online, especially with a tax coach to do hand-holding and stuff, it's going to be, that's a sustainability model for me right there, and then growing it just like the VITA sites. So I just really appreciate the opportunity to work with you all. To the nation, and I think that it's going to be a really great result. That's what I'm expecting anyway. And I just wanted to add that I remember the first time when I was 19 and filed from a site. It was an AARP site back then to help me understand how to file my own taxes. And it was just eye-opening because it was so fearful, Other people did that. You had to pay accountants to do that. And so I'm looking forward to empowering people in our community and making sure that their money goes to them, all of their money.
Well, thank you, Lisa. Well, it's very telling that you were the reason we named this webinar Workforce Empowerment Zones, and you're the last one to speak on it. Thank you so much.
Team, and I also fully believe that this is a really important part to be partnered with workforce and workforce development, and for for all people, including people with disabilities that we're helping connect to work and careers. And it's a piece that, rather than be here, there, and everywhere, this is a real piece that gives us an opportunity to put our best foot forward where it's really needed. This information does encourage work, like Janet was saying, in the EITC, and keeping all your money, That's a big reason why we work. And so I just, we won't know how it impacts each individual and each family. We don't get to see that part sometimes. I expect to have a huge impact. So thanks.
Great. Well, we're very happy you're part of it. Thanks so much. You can see some of the next steps here, connecting with your SPEC representative, recruiting tax coaches. I mean, that's on the way. Katie and I have been working with you all to interview people from far, and it's a great experience. So far, we have some amazing people coming on board as well. And then we're going to have some different virtual training and technical assistance opportunities on the software, marketing. There's an amazingly aggressive marketing strategy that goes hand in hand. We just didn't have enough time to talk about it, but we will. More on the workforce development system and disability awareness for those tax coaches that come on board who need that kind of training. And lastly, I just want to thank you all for participating today. Laura, Richard, Laura, Cammie, Lee, my team at NDI. It's a great opportunity to be able to bring together this variety of organizations and systems from all different levels, national, state, and local. And we're looking forward to continuing to coordinate efforts, and there's a lot more brainstorming to be done with how can we best make this work and support others' initiatives as we move forward to reach more individuals, both with and without disabilities. So with that, we will have this posted at that link there, and we will keep in touch and answer questions as they arise. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.